Well, let's talk about the 2022-2023 Pacific Northwest Trophy season. It starts September 1, which is already passed, but we haven't had any contests yet, and it goes till the end of August, or really it goes until the end of into July with the last contest there. But the season is still September 1 to August 31. There are 10 contests. 3 of them are sideband, 3 of them are RTTY, 3 of them are CW, and 1 of them is a mixed, a sideband and a CW one. So for the plan for this video, I'll give you some general thoughts on contesting, and they'll also apply to DXing as well, just general operating. Then we'll look at all the sideband contests together. Then we'll look at all the RTTY contests together. And then we'll look at all the CW contests together. And finally, we'll end up with the single mixed contest, the sideband and CW contest together. So just some general thoughts. Europe, lots of countries, so that's lots of multipliers. And it would be good to know when each of the bands is open to Europe. So that would be 80 at more than just knowing that it's at night, and 40 mostly at night. But when it's really nice to know on 40 when we on the West Coast have a better opportunity than the people on the East Coast. So it's very nice to know when Europe opens up because, like I said, lots of multipliers. Japan and Eastern Asia, similar to Europe, of course, but many fewer countries. But whereas the East Coast has the advantage going into Europe, we got a great advantage going to JA. And oftentimes there's lots of JA operators on, so that's a great place to get lots of contacts. So you should know when those bands open up, and just sort of in general there after the sun goes down for them on 40, and after the sun goes down for us on 20, at least for a little while. And some other thoughts. You might think about doing a single band entry in a contest, 15 meters or maybe 10 meters now that solar flux has gotten better. So you just stay on the band, and you could also do it on 20. And particularly after most of the stations in the United States have left to go to lower bands, like in the evening on 20 and 15, then you can work JAs, lots of JAs, they'll still be there, and even deeper into to Asia, like Vietnam and Indonesia, and farther of those. Also, by doing a single band entry, it teaches you, or you learn, you get the experience of knowing what what that particular band does late in the evening or early in the morning that you probably don't operate on that band as much. The gray line, always nice to know where the sunrise and sunset is. There are several independent programs that will show you that on the map. N1MM has a gray line map that you can watch as well. Here's the calendar, September to July. And the sideband ones are in green, the RTTY ones are in orange, CW ones in red, and the mixed one way out there in July. You can get an idea that they're scattered fairly well through the year. Nothing in December, nothing in April, and nothing in June, but at least a contest every month if you are willing to operate all of the modes. All right, the first sideband contest is CQ Worldwide Sideband. There's the link for it. There you can find all the rules and all of the other information. You can also check, or you can submit your log by going to that site, and you can make sure that your log got submitted as well. It's October 29 and 30 of this year, so a month away, a little over a month away from right now. The time, it starts at 0 Zulu Saturday, which for us is 1700 Pacific Daylight Time on Friday. That's also 5 p.m. for those of you that don't do 24-hour clocks. And it ends at 23:59 Zulu on Sunday, which is 16:59 our time on Sunday, Pacific Daylight Time. There's no time limit on this one, so if you want to stay up for 48 hours, you can stay up for 48 hours. Of course, if you only want to put in 1 hour, get you some new DX ones, that's fine too. The bands, 160 through 10 of the contest bands, or what I'll call the non-work bands. So that's 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. The exchange that you'll send is 5-9, and the zone, and our zone is 3. So you would say 5-9. Well, the report that you would give would be 5903, or you can leave out the 0. But the one who taught me to operate sideband always put the 0 in there. That was Lamar, WA7LT. So 5903 is the exchange. The multipliers, they're zones and countries. So you work as many of the zones as you can and work every country that you can. Those are the multipliers. The points, just the best thing to remember on that one is you get more points for contacts off of the continent or off of North America. So Europe is good, Asia is good, and South America, of course, as well. The logging programs, N1MM, you find that one or find this contest in CQ WWSSB, and N3FJP, that name is CQ Worldwide Contest Log. Just a little thought on that. Get the 3 USA zones on each band, then don't waste your time with USA QSOs because they're 0 points. They waste your time and they waste the people on the other end's time as well. And it says there to get the 3 USA zones on each band, but you can also get the Canadian ones in zone 3, 4, and 5. 3's ours, 4's the middle of the North America, and 5 is the East Coast, and then Mexico is 6. So don't waste your time on USA ones except for to get the zones. And then I always thank the person for the zone because they probably already have zone 3 already. Last year, SDXA put up 1.8 million points from 15 operators. So for SDXA, a pretty popular contest, as most of the sideband ones are. So let's try to get more than 1.8 million this time. The next one is ARRL DXSSB, and there's the link for it. It's March 4th and 5th of next year, so we got a little wait before we can get to that one. The time, it starts at 0 Zulu Saturday, which is back to standard time, so that's 1600 Pacific time Friday, and it goes to 2359 Zulu Sunday, or 1559 Pacific time on Sunday. That'd be 3:59 p.m. There's no time limit, so another one that you can operate all 48 hours or as few hours as you would like. The bands in this one, 160 through 10, so 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. The exchange, if you're in the United States or in a Canadian province, it's RS and your state. So here what we would say would be 59 Whiskey Alpha if you're in Washington, or 59 India Delta if you're in Idaho. Probably best to use the phonetic alphabet to say Whiskey Alpha or India Delta. You don't want the other end to think that you're in Iowa if you're really in Idaho. What the DX station would say their exchange would be RS in the power, so that'd be 59, and they might say K, which means kilowatt. They also might say 59100 if that's the power that they're using. So they would send RS in the power. Multipliers, countries, and Alaska and Hawaii and this one are different countries for this contest. Points, 3 points for every non-USA or non-VE Canada contact. So keep that in mind. Logging programs, both programs cover it. There they are. And no points for USA or Canada contacts, so don't waste your time with them. That's kind of nice from the one standpoint that DX stations want to work the United States or Canada, but it also means that when the bands dry up, you can't just work US stations and get points. So a little bit different wrinkle there. Last year, SDXA put up 1 million points from 11 operators. I think we can do better than that this time around. The last sideband only one is CQ WPX, which means worked all prefix sideband one. There's the the URL for that one. It's March 25th and 26th of next year. The time, it starts at 0 Zulu Saturday, and that's after daylight savings time kicks in. So that's 1700 or 5 p.m. Friday, and it ends at 23:59 Sunday, or just before 5 o'clock on Sunday. There is a time limit on this one. Contest period is 48 hours, but you can only operate 36 of those 48, and your off times have to be at least 60 minutes. So, but don't get caught catching one QSO too early. So if you ended at let's say 0700 Zulu, the next one that you can the next contact that you can make is at 0801 Zulu. So it's best to add 61 minutes to the time that your log shows the last contact. So 61, because the logs or the log checkers don't bother with the seconds. They just, they don't bother with the seconds, just the minutes. Bands, another one that's all of the 160 to 10. So all the contest bands. The exchange in this one is RS and a serial number. So what you would say is 59, and if you had made up to 137 contacts, you'd say 137. Again, perhaps better to say each individual number. Points, multipliers are per band, so every prefix. So W7 is a prefix, N7 is a prefix, so both of those are multipliers. Points, more for off North America and more for low band contacts. So be sure, and if you want to get a lot of points, to operate on 40, 80, and 160 if you can. So more points for low and more points off the North American continent. Logging programs in 1mm, CQWPX sideband or SSB, and N3FJP, CQWPX contest log, which is will be the same name as you'll see for the CW one as well. This is a rate fest, so the faster you can work people, the better. You don't really need to worry about hunting multipliers because they'll just come. So if you want a high score, work as many as you can, because every prefix is a multiplier. Last year, SDXA put up 1.8 million points from 11 sideband operators. Another goal for us to shoot at. Okay, here's the RTTY contests. So September, and then wait, January, February takes care of those. So that's coming up first. The first RTTY contest is CQ Worldwide RTTY. The link for it is right there. It's September 24th and 25th of the 2022. So at least when this is when I'm recording this, it's coming up very soon, in less than 2 weeks. The time for it's 0 Zulu Saturday, 1700 Pacific Daylight Time on Friday to 23:59 Sunday. That's 16:59 Pacific Daylight Time on Sunday. No time limit. So you can work all 48, or again, as many or as few as you want. So no time limit, don't have to take any breaks. The bands, this is one does not include 160 meters, so it's 80 through 10, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. The exchange is 599, the zone and the state for those of us who live in the U.S. So you would send, or you would have your function key send 59903WA, or if you live in Idaho, 59903ID. And there's no point in making that 5NN, because it just causes more difficulty because of the shift required to get numbers. So send 599. Don't be a CW type person and type in 5NN. So 59903WA. If it's not a U.S. station, then what you will get is 599 and a zone. And quickly you learn where the particular zones are. So I'll leave that up to you to figure that one out. The mults are per band. So there's zones and countries and states. So this one, you can work a lot of different, you can work everybody, because you get points for being in the state. So it's a nice one when you can't get to Europe and you can't get to JA, you can still work U.S. countries or U.S. states. But you do get more points for off a North American continent. So try to get those, but don't forget the U.S. ones. There's the logging programs, the N1 and MM and N3F, FJP. SDXA had 1.8 million points last year, 10 RTTY operators. Let's see if we can't get more than 10 RTTY operators going this time around. Next one is the ARRL RTTY Roundup. There's the URL for it. It's January 7th and 8th of 2023. And as I've got plastered over there on the side, no FT4 or FT8 this year. So it's a RTTY contest, not a digital roundup like it was a couple of years ago, or for the last couple of years. The time, it starts a little differently. It starts at 1800 Zulu Saturday, which is 10 p.m. Pacific Standard, or 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time Saturday, and it goes till 23:59 on Sunday, which is 15:59 Pacific Standard Time on Sunday. There is a time limit. Those particular hours are 30 hours, but you can only operate 24 of those 30 hours. So you can get plenty of sleep and still operate the full 30 or the full 24 if you want to. And these off time must be at least 30 minutes. So again, for the same reason, whatever your last QSO was, add 31 minutes to it, and that's as soon as you can make your next contact. Bands, 80 through 10, no 160, 80 through 10. And this one, ARRL RTTY Roundup, was dreamed up by Jay Townsend, WS7I, one of the SDXA members, dreamed this one up. Exchange is 599 in your state, so that would be 599 Washington or 599 Idaho. And it's if you're a DX, it's 599 and a serial number. So what you would see them sending would be 599 and perhaps 163. Mults are not per band, so they're just once per contest. So that's different than the other contests. And the multipliers are states and countries. So what that means is that not per band. So once you work New Mexico, for example, on 80 meters, that's a multiplier. But when you work New Mexico on 40 meters, it's not a multiplier. It does count for points, but it's not a multiplier. So little different wrinkles. Also, that not per band means that the East Coast working Europeans like crazy, they only get 1 point for them, or they only get one multiplier because it's a per contest, not a per band one. So a little advantage for us on the East Coast. I think we can, I'm pretty sure we can thank Jay for that. Points, the other interesting one is they're all 1 point. So you get the same number of points for working a U.S. station as for working a European station or one of those deep Asian countries. There's the logging programs. Both of them cover it. SDXA, 290,000 points from 12 operators. So we had a lot of participation in ARRL DX. Because of 1 point, or you only get 1 point per contact, and the multipliers are per contest, not per band. It's a lower scoring contest than most of the other ones, than all the other ones. The next one up is CQWPX RTTY. There's the link for it. It's February 11th and 12th, 2023. It starts at the usual 0 Zulu, which is 1600 or 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it goes for 48 hours, ending on Sunday at 15:59 Pacific Standard Time on Sunday. Again, a time limit on this one. Out of the 48-hour period, you can only operate 30 of them, and all the off times have to be at least 60 minutes. Again, add 61 to the last QSO you made. That's when you can make your next QSO for the off time to count. Bands, again, 80 through 10, no 160, so 80 through 10. The exchange for everybody is RST and a serial number. So what you would send would be perhaps 599, and if you up to 340, you send 340. Mults are per band on this one, unlike the RTTY Roundup. So every prefix, you work a W7 on 40 meters, you get a multiplier. You work a W7 on 10 meters, you get the multiplier for it. So you can just keep working. So work as many as you can. And More points for off the North American continent. That's a pretty typical thing. There's the logging programs that work. And like I said before, N3FJP used the same log for both Iridian, sideband, and CW for that matter, in the WPX contests. And it's a rate fest, so you work if you want a lot of points, work as many as you can, as fast as you can. Multipliers count, as I said, per band, and ever prefix is a big one. SDXA last time 3.2 million points from 8 operators. So even though fewer operators, 3.2 million points, I think that was our highest one last year. Rate fest. So have a good time in that one. Next up would be the CW contests. They're shown in red. So we got them in November, February, May, and then the mixed one in July. But we'll cover the mixed one after a bit. The first CW contest is CQ Worldwide. There's the link for it. It's November 26th to 27th of 2022, which is Thanksgiving weekend. This contest is always Thanksgiving weekend. That makes some people happy and other people not so much. Time, it starts at 0 Zulu Saturday, which is 4 p.m. Pacific time on Friday. And it goes to 23:59 Sunday, which is 15:59 Pacific Standard Time on Sunday, or 3:59 on Sunday. There's no time limit, so put in the full 48 hours or an hour at a time. No time limit. You don't have to have off times at all. The bands, this one does include 160, so it's 160 through 10. The exchange, 599 in the zone. So what you would send in CW is 5NN and 3. You don't need the 0 so much, although certainly you can put it in there. In this one and in other CW contests, you'll run into cut numbers. Somebody sends a T, that means a 0. So they what you might hear would translate to 5NNT3, but that means 03. And you can either record that as a T3 or a 03. The log checkers will accept either one. The N is pretty typical as a 9. That's where the 5NN comes from. And occasionally you'll hear an E as a 5. Sometimes Europeans in zone 15 will send A, which is a 1, which you don't hear very often, AE, but that means 15. The more typical numbers you'll hear are TN and E. So you can either write those down or just translate them in your head. Multipliers are zones and countries. So work a lot of zones and work all the countries you can. Again, more points for off the North American continent. Logging programs, both of them cover it. And again, same as CQ Worldwide sideband, get the 3 USA zones on each band, then don't waste time with USA QSOs because they're 0 points. And again, you can get the 3 USA zones, 3, 4, and 5 from Canada, and you get points and zones for those. So the big thing, don't waste your time on USA ones. This was a big scorer for SDXA last year. 2.8 million points, 12 CW operators operated in that one. So let's try to get 15 CW operators on that. And most of the DXers send rapidly, but once you can figure out what their call is, the zone is pretty simple to figure out. The logging programs know the zone. Got to copy what they send, but you get a lot of help with pre-fills. Next contest is ARRL DX CW. Again, there's the link. It's February 18th to 19th, 2023. Time, the usual 0 Zulu, which is still standard time for us. So that's a 1600 Friday start, and it ends 48 hours later on Sunday. No time limit on that one. So all 48 hours if you can stand it, or however, whatever smaller fraction of that you'd like to do. Okay, in this contest, the bands are 160 through 10. So 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10, similar to the sideband ARRL DX contest. The exchange, RST, readability, strength, and tone, and the state. So if you're in Washington, what you might have your function key send is 5NN WA, or if you're in Idaho, you'd have it send 5NN ID. And what you would hear from the DX stations would be RST and their power. So they might send and you would hear 5NNK. Some might send 5NNKW. Either K or KW means they're running a kilowatt or more. And this one you also might hear cut numbers. So you might hear 5NNATT. A stands for a 1 and the T's are 0, so that would be 100. Another one, sometimes Europeans send, would be ETT, and the EA stands for 5, so that would be a 500. So cut numbers sometimes come up in this contest. Multipliers, only countries. Points, 3 points for every non-USA or Canada contact, so keep that in mind. Login programs, both of them cover it, and 3FJP, similar log for as it was in the sideband one, little different name for N1MM. 0 points for USA or Canada contacts, so don't waste your time with them. Don't waste their time. Don't waste your time. SDA contacts, or SDXA last time around, we had 1.6 million points from 9 CW ops. We can do better than that this time, more CW ops this time around. Next one up is CQWPX CW. The link, it's May 27th and 28th, 2023, Memorial Day weekend, and I think it's always that one. It might not always be, but usually it's Memorial Day weekend also. So the time starts at 0 Zulu Saturday, which is 5 p.m. Pacific time Friday, goes for 48 hours and ends on Sunday our time. Time limit, 36 of the 48. So you got to take an off time of at least 60 minutes. Again, so be sure and add 61 minutes to the last time you had a QSO. Bands, 160 through 10, so 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. The exchange, RST, and a serial number. So if you were up to 821 contacts, you would send 5NN821. Again, your login program will take care of that, or you can send it with the paddle or straight key if you want to do that. Multipliers are per band, each prefix. So that makes it a rate fest. More points for off North American continent, and again, you get more points for low bands. So try to get as many as you can on 160, 80, and 40 if you want lots of points, or if you want a high score. There's the login programs, and as I said before, again, a rate fest. So work as many as you can, as fast as you can to get the high score. And SDXA had 2.3 million points from 7 operators last time. Memorial Day weekend kind of puts a cramp in things. Besides, it's summertime and people are kind of getting tired of that. But it's a good contest to participate in anyway. Okay, here's the last contest of the season, which is a mixed one, a sideband and CW, all the way out there in the 1st of July. So the last contest of the season and the only mixed one is IARU, and a little bit longer URL, but there it is. It's July 8th and 9th of 2023. The time, again, a little different start. It starts at 1200 Zulu on Saturday, which is 5 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Saturday. It goes to 11:59 Zulu on Sunday, which is 04:59 Pacific Daylight Time on Sunday. So a 24-hour contest that starts if you just get up a little bit early. So if you're really aggressive and want to do it, you can put in the full 24 hours. There's no time limit. So 24 hours or any smaller portion of that you can do or that you can tolerate. 160 through 10 meters are the bands. So all the good ones, 60, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. Exchange is pretty simple. If you're sending, if you're doing CW, it's RS in your ITU zone, which is not the same as CQ worldwide zones. So for us in both Washington and Idaho, for CW, you would send 5NN and 6. Or for if you were doing the CW or the sideband one, you would just say 5906. Mults. for IARU are zones, and there's a lot more of them of ITU zones. So work as many of those as you can. And the official IARU stations. One way to tell them, if you don't have the cheat sheet that always comes out beforehand, is their suffix is usually HQ. So for example, if you hear CT1 HQ, you would know that that's a Portuguese IARU station, and that you get extra mults for those. So hunt those out when you see them spotted. Pick those up as soon as you can. Points, more for out of your zone and more for off of your continent. So you can work stations in North America and you get points for it, but you get more for other than zone 6, which is the western half of the United States. Work out of your zone and work off of North America. Login programs, there they are. Both of them take care of it. 8 SDXA operators scored 590,000 points. This was also a little bit lower scoring contest, primarily because it's only 24 hours instead of 48. But still a good contest, a lot of fun. And conditions are really different in IARU as compared to the more winter and the spring contests. Europe opens up a whole different, and so does JA land. So in review here, when the contests are, got one in September, one in October, one in November. We take December off. January comes back with with a RTTY contest at the early. February is a big month. 2 contests in February, 2 contests in March, get a little relief in April. Into May, contest, take June off, and then finish up in July. So that's the 10 contests that make up the Pacific Northwest DX Trophy Hunt. Let's see if we can see if SDXA can do better than we did in 2022 in this upcoming 2022-2023 season. Catch you guys on the air.